Coming up next, after 4 decades behind bars for murder, a Center County man hopes new clues in the case will help set him free.
Plus, a local connection to the devastating California wildfires.
And she got a text that her house had burned down and her family watched it through their car's cameras.
And the largest crowd ever turns out for a classic Pennsylvania tradition. The Center County Report starts now.
Good afternoon, I'm Sarah Grosh.
And I'm Allie Winskowski. Thanks for joining us for the Center County Report. Our top story, a man convicted of murder decades ago tries to get a judge to grant him a new trial linked to new evidence. 2 days of court hearings are wrapping up in Bellefonte today. Reporter Hannah Newer is following the case.
Family, friends, and supporters came together at the Center County Courthouse for a show of support and with renewed hope. Hope for a new trial that could set a man free from prison after 42 years.
This is obviously a day that we have been waiting for months, and we're so excited to be able to present our claims in court and have the community know or have proof of the things that we've been saying all along.
Subbu Vedam moved to State College from India as a baby with his family. 20 years later, in 1982, he was convicted of murdering Thomas Kinzer and sentenced to life in prison. Now, 4 decades later, questions about the bullet hole have led to court hearings in Bellefonte.
The expert who's looked at, is where it gets kind of gruesome, that looks at the skull of the victim, says the bullet hole in his skull is too small to have been made by a .25 caliber bullet.
Russell Frank is a longtime journalist and professor at Penn State who's closely followed the case.
And so therefore it couldn't have been that bullet and it couldn't have been that gun. And so that kind of blows up the whole case against Subbu.
If a judge agrees, he could order a new trial that could eventually mean freedom. Frank has known Vedam for years and visited him in prison.
I began to see him and then write about him because I felt like there was an injustice that needed to be addressed.
Frank says Vedam has stayed strong and helped others behind bars.
He's taught all these people to read and help them with their reading and with their writing, and he's just, prison is horrible, but I think he's probably made the best of it more than I can even really imagine.
Here at the Center County Courthouse, the new evidence is considered in an evidentiary hearing. These next 2 days could provide the necessary context to support Subbu's innocence, ultimately leading to his freedom. Supporters held signs outside the courthouse yesterday. Some also believe the justice system is compromised.
This means that I want a justice system that follows the law, that metes out its judgments with integrity and fairness.
2 days of hearings wrap up today in Bellefonte. I'm Hannah Newer for the Center County Report.
It's not yet clear when the judge will issue his decision.
Governor Josh Shapiro is proposing a new state budget that includes millions more dollars for schools, public transit, and more. Shapiro gave his budget address Tuesday in Harrisburg, outlining a $51 billion spending plan. It would increase total spending by 9% through the state's main bank account, or about $3.8 billion. The proposal holds the line on personal and sales tax rates. It also offers hundreds of millions in tax breaks to encourage new power plant construction and clean energy technologies.
We are powerful enough to develop common sense policies that will lower costs, protect and create jobs, and take meaningful action to address climate change.
Shapiro also proposed $60 million in new funding for Penn State and its fellow state-related universities. But anything that passes will have to get through a divided legislature.
On Penn State's main campus, the $700 million Beaver Stadium renovations have started to take shape. Last month, the press box was demolished, leaving the west side of the stadium temporarily exposed. Penn State Athletics released a video teasing temporary West Bowl seating for next season and saying parking lot 18 will not be impacted. Work continues around the clock. The renovations are expected to be completed before the 2027 season. Geisinger has now expanded its local services with the opening of Geisinger Healthplex State College. The $12 million, 20,000 square foot expansion is on Abigail Lane. It has 41 exam rooms, a surgical suite, and the county's first Make-O robotic arm for knee surgeries. It also has dedicated pediatric areas and more specialty services.
Medical and healthcare offices around the state are very busy right now as the flu and cold season really ramps up. Reporter Isabel Charbonneau has that story.
As people across Pennsylvania brave this cold, icy winter, they're also fighting a challenging cold and flu season. For many, it feels like this one is especially bad.
It hit me like a truck. The symptoms just came on so quick.
For Penn State students, like senior Natalie Campbell, missing classes can hurt their academic studies.
I was so dead, had no energy, so I definitely got behind in classes. So that was just not fun, and it definitely added to my stress levels.
The rate of sickness often increases when students return to Penn State for the semester. University Health Services Medical Director Rebecca Simsick told us the community has seen a standard rise in sicknesses this winter.
Since we've been back for this current spring semester, we are seeing an uptick in mostly influenza or the flu.
There are two main types they're dealing with. Flu A is seen more toward the beginning of flu season and flu B near the end. It means you could get the flu twice in the same season. Simsick says UHS and the data from Mount Nittany Hospital show this year's flu numbers around the higher pre-COVID levels so far.
We saw very low flu rates when folks were really distanced, isolated, really well masked. But really, I think we're back to usual business.
The CDC's weekly flu map shows Pennsylvania in the high category and an increase of positive flu tests nationally, up more than 29% this week. In University Park, I'm Isabel Charbonneau for the Center County Report.
Health experts say it's not too late to get a flu shot to help protect you.
More than a month after those devastating California wildfires, people are still struggling with recovery. And those fires are hitting home with some here in central PA. Eva Hines is in our studio with more. Eva?
Major wildfires swept through the Los Angeles area last month, killing nearly 30 people. Entire neighborhoods were destroyed. I just talked with a Penn State student from Malibu about what her family has seen in their area. The images are horrifying. California in flames. Kara Canty is a sophomore at Penn State. She's from Malibu and saw firsthand the devastation these fires caused.
Right on the other side of the pier was the Palisades and the hills, and you can just see the smoke coming from it, which is crazy to think about because it is 12 miles from us, but it was just so huge. You can see the flames from peeking over the hill.
One of Kara's closest friends lost their home in the Palisades fire. Her friend lost not only her house, but family heirlooms and memories.
I had a friend who I used to dance with. She just recently moved to the Palisades. Her family just built their dream home. She has 3 little brothers, and she had just went back to college, and she got a text that her house had burned down and her family watched it through their car's cameras.
Kara says she feels very lucky that her house was saved, but this disaster opened her eyes to what's truly important and what items are irreplaceable.
I did start thinking about what I would have packed had I had to evacuate.
Something most people take for granted and never have to think about became a harsh reality for others.
What would you want to save if you had the chance to save something?
Kara says the community and people across the nation are coming together after this tragedy.
We all donated immediately. I donated to the fire relief funds. I donated a ton of clothes.
Fire is more than 2,000 miles away, having an impact even here in our area.
The Pacific Coast Highway, which goes through Kara's hometown of Malibu, just reopened this week, nearly a month after the Palisades fire.
Our weather here is a lot different. In fact, more stormy weather is on the way this weekend. We check the forecast coming up.
And a local township plans a big bonfire celebration for its 150th birthday. Also coming up, a record crowd celebrated Groundhog's Day at Gobbler's Knob. We'll look back on the fun in Punxsutawney. Penn State researchers have received a grant for nearly $500,000 to search for radio and laser signals from possible alien civilizations. The 3-year grant goes to the Penn State Extraterrestrial Intelligence Center, which has been around since 2020.
Yesterday's ice storm reminds us it's still winter, and Punxsutawney Phil can say, "Told you so." He saw his shadow this week, and the legend says that means 6 more weeks of winter. Reporter Ethan Hetrick looks back on the fun in Punxsutawney on Groundhog Day.
Punxsutawney, population 6,000. But once a year, it's host to one of the largest celebrations in the United States, Groundhog Day. People come from all over the world to be at Gobbler's Knob.
We love Phil, so we made the 14-hour trip.
I live like 20 minutes away, Sykesville, right down the road.
We're from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and we're here because we're excited for early spring.
55,000 people showed up this year. That's the largest crowd ever to see Punxsutawney Phil, the legendary groundhog forecaster. Even Governor Josh Shapiro made a guest appearance. This year's celebration was unique for Phil. It was his first Groundhog Day as a dad. The supposedly 139-year-old had 2 children with his wife Phyllis. Their names, Sunny and Shadow.
We all know about Punxsutawney Phil, the groundhog that will deliver our forecast of whether it's going to be winter or spring. But how much do we know about his caretakers, the Groundhog Club?
Well, we do this just to kind of honor Phil, honor the tradition. So the top hat and tuxedo was originated, I think, really by Sam Light. He was a big proponent early on for the Groundhog Club. Oh, it's a lot of fun. As you can see behind me right now, we're going to have a giant crowd this year. But, whenever we show up, people are excited to see Inner Circle members. But if we have Phil with us, we're really just a sideline.
Phil's prognostication isn't the only reason people crowd onto Gobbler's Knob. There are plenty of other activities to fill the time leading up to the big moment, including live band performances, talent shows, bonfires, and even fireworks. In Punxsutawney, I'm Ethan Hetrick with the Central County Report.
The Pennsylvania Groundhog Day tradition has been happening since 1887.
College Township is marking its 150th birthday this year, and it plans to kick off the celebration with a community bonfire next week. The event will be Saturday, February 15th at Spring Creek Park. It'll feature music, food trucks, the bonfire, s'mores, and hot chocolate. Everyone is invited. Now let's check on the weather.
So a lot drier today, but don't get used to that because we have a storm train pattern coming our way. Temperatures this afternoon sitting in the low 30s, but it's not really the temperature making it cold. Our winds are gusting up to 25 miles per hour, making it feel almost 20 degrees colder with a wind chill of 19 degrees. Temperatures across the state, colder the more north you are, warmer the more south you are, and that's because an Arctic boundary is moving through the state, bringing in those colder conditions. Taking a look at our current radar and satellite, not much really going on. There was a few flurries with that front this morning, but those have since dissipated. See the front on the map there. And our next system, which will bring a wintry mix to the state beginning tomorrow, starting to get its act together up in northern Texas. So tracking it out this evening into tomorrow morning, mostly cloudy skies across the region, but that wintry mix begins to move into the State College area by around 3 to 4 o'clock. Beginning as mostly snow. It's going to be similar to that system we saw on Thursday morning, starting out snow and sleet, but then that warm air begins to move and infiltrate northward, changing much of the south central and State College area to a sleet and freezing rain mix, staying mostly snow across I-80 and north. And this system continues to push through into the evening and overnight hours before we see a quieter day on Sunday. So if you have any Eagles Super Bowl plans for the Eagles and Chiefs game, you will most likely be on the good side. But tracking out those snowfall amounts, we really won't see much here in State College. The heaviest will be across the northern tier, but the bigger story will be that ice threat. Could see up to 3/10 of an inch of ice here in State College, which will make for very hazardous to dangerous travel conditions, especially 4 o'clock and onward. Moving forward, Sunday and Monday will be calm. Our next system already getting into the region by Tuesday afternoon and evening, bringing another threat of potential swath of snow, and we're not stopping there. Thursday, potential another system moving northward, bringing another chance for wintry mix here in our local region. Checking out tonight, a low of 18 degrees is expected in mostly cloudy skies. If you're heading out there, out and about, make sure to bring your coats, dress up a little bit warmer. And tomorrow, heading a high of 32 degrees with a wintry mix expected. So if you're planning to be outdoors for extended periods of time, heading to travel, make sure to stay off the roads, especially after 4 o'clock. And then looking at our 7-day outlook, again, a little bit drier today, but as we head into the weekend, our wintry mix begins to move into the region. And then our next storm system comes in on Tuesday and another one on Thursday with temperatures remaining below average. So as the groundhog said, 6 more weeks of winter.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm really not excited for any more winter. I feel like I was being blown away by the wind this morning.
Likewise. Now let's go hear about sports with Tyler.
Coming up next in sports, you'll hear from Penn State's new addition to the football coaching staff and the high expectations that come with this hire. And the Superdome is ready for the big game. Some former Nittany Lion players are ready to make their mark on football's biggest stage. More on Super Bowl weekend after the break. I'm Tyler Hamer with sports. Sunday's Super Bowl will feature some prominent Penn Staters in New Orleans. NFL Offensive Player of the Year Saquon Barkley, along with Jahan Dotson and Tariq Castro-Fields, will try to help give the Eagles their second Super Bowl win. Standing in their way, Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, going for an NFL record 3 consecutive championships. The Chiefs feature former Nittany Lion Hunter Norzad. The game kicks off around 6:30 Sunday night. Our team from Penn State Com Radio is also in New Orleans covering the game. We checked in with them about their Super Bowl experience.
Com Radio is here at Super Bowl 59. Justin Chevalier, Dylan Price will be with you all week long leading up to the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs. And Dylan, we'll get into the matchup a lot throughout the week, but what is the major storyline that you're watching for?
I mean, it's the chase for a three-peat and the chance to finish a story. Philadelphia Eagles were the first team beaten by the Kansas City Chiefs in this 3 straight Super Bowl attempt, and now they could be the team that derails that attempt at history. The Eagles try to finish their story, get redemption. On the other side, the Chiefs trying to do something that no team in NFL history has ever done. We'll talk about it a lot throughout the course of the week. We're here. This is an incredible environment, and it's going to be a good one.
It's now the offseason for Penn State football, but still busy. The team's shiny new defensive coordinator held his first news conference this week. Reporter Owen Gelber was there.
Despite Penn State's deep playoff run and 13-win season, head coach James Franklin still found himself in hiring mode this offseason after defensive coordinator Tom Allen left for Clemson. After a nationwide search, Franklin hired Ohio State's Jim Knowles, who's fresh off of a national championship with the Buckeyes.
On this very windy Tuesday afternoon in University Park, Penn State new defensive coordinator Jim Knowles was in town for his introductory press conference. Knowles was asked, why Penn State? And he said he thinks Penn State is this close.
Knowles led the nation's top-ranked defense last season, allowing just 254 total yards per game. The Philadelphia native who watched the Nittany Lions growing up says this is a golden opportunity.
I see it as, so close, right? I think I can help. I think I can be of service. This is the place because everything here is so close to winning it all, and I'm hopeful that, I can help get it there.
Knowles preached his tough love mentality and looks forward to building relationships with the Nittany Lion players.
Oh, the players, they have to trust you, They have to know that you care about all their personal situations, and they have to trust that you have their best interest in heart.
Knowles becomes the highest paid defensive coordinator in the nation at more than $3 million per year. At Beaver Stadium, I'm Owen Gelber for the Center County Report.
This most recent hire, along with the $700 million Beaver Stadium upgrade and returning players, doubles down on Penn State's all-in push towards a national championship under head coach James Franklin. Penn State Athletics made a $5 million profit in the most recent fiscal year, but it also spent $215 million. Now it's paying Jim Knowles more than any other defensive coordinator in the nation. And some people are not happy about that. It's led to confusion about budgets at a time when the university is making big financial cuts. Derek Stilley reports.
Penn State football is a major moneymaker.
The program saw $113 million in revenue during the most recent fiscal year. It also spends millions too, including a reported $3.1 million per year for new defensive coordinator Jim Knowles. That has some people questioning the university's priorities. As Penn State works through a budget crunch and financial cuts, one example, a just announced $25 million in cuts across the Commonwealth campuses.
Penn State athletics is a nice target for people when they are unhappy with spending throughout the university because the way Penn State earns money in athletics is splashy, and the way it spends money is splashy.
Now, most people assume that Penn State shares a budget with its athletics department. However, what they don't realize is that Penn State Athletics Department has its own budget, separate from the school, with no ties to Commonwealth campuses or educational finances. That means tuition and other general spending dollars are not used by athletics at all.
So football's over here, Commonwealth campus is over here. It's as if you're a candy company, Hershey's. You got your peanut butter cups over here, and you have your regular Hershey with almonds over here. So they don't cross over. The marketing's different, the budgets are different, the sales dollars are different.
A fact that some alumni and fans have a tough time separating. In University Park, I'm Derek Stilley for the Center County Report.
Penn State football's budget report shows it spends more than $20 million on coaching salaries. To the ice, Penn State men's hockey is back on the road this weekend against Wisconsin. The Nittany Lions are coming off a trip to Michigan last weekend where they earned a split against the Wolverines. Friday night, they won a 5-4 thriller, just their 5th win all time at historic Yost Ice Arena. Penn State men's basketball is back on the road following another conference loss. The Golden Gophers traveled to State College this week and picked up a big 69-61 win behind senior Dawson Garcia. DeMarco Dunn led Penn State in scoring off the bench with 18. The Nittany Lions have now dropped 8 of their last 10. They'll try and turn things around tomorrow at UCLA. That's all for sports. Now over to Allie and Sarah at the desk.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm very excited for the Super Bowl. I'm wearing green for the Eagles today.
I'm not the biggest Eagles fan, but you just have to hope that Saquon Barkley gets a ring. Thanks, Tyler. Coming up, a big career change and career promotion for one of Penn State's longest-serving deans.
After more than 20 years at Penn State, the dean of the Belisario College of Communications is leaving to become president at a New England university. Marie Hardin has been named to lead Quinnipiac University in Connecticut. She's served as the dean for the past decade. Hardin secured a $30 million donation from legendary Hollywood producer Donald Belisario, which helped build the new media center where we broadcast the Center County Report. Hardin starts her new job this summer, and we wish her well.
She really will be missed. But that's all for today's newscast. We hope you'll join us next Friday for another Locals News Update.
But you can follow us anytime for breaking news on our Center County Report X. And you can see our stories on our Facebook page, Instagram, YouTube, and our website. Have a good weekend.